Guardian, we've picked up a high-gain transmission. Origin point is somewhere along the coast, near the Cosmodrome.
All right, everybody. All righty. Welcome to Cosmodrome Radio episode 59. We are almost to 60 episodes, y'all. 59. We are here, back at it again. The trio
and 10 away from 69. Nice.
Oh my God. Well, we are back once again. This is the show talking about Destiny 2 and all the great things about it. Don't forget, folks, that you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, all those great places. Shout out to my Spotify people because you are our most listened platform. So shout out to y'all for the support. We appreciate you. Other platforms, where you at? You trying to take over Spotify? Where you at? But anyway, you can listen. You can check out the merch store. We're actually going to be the artist is finishing the sketches the next 2 days. You have to keep an eye on the social medias because we're going to be having a vote of the 2 designs that our artist is going to run with for our final shape merch drop. So get ready for that. That is going to be dope. So we'll definitely be bringing that to you when that happens. I gotta figure out how we're gonna do the voting, but it'll be a dope thing to do. So make sure that you keep an eye out for that. It's gonna be a great episode, I feel like, because Bungie was cooking this week. Bungie lit a fire under everybody's assholes this week, and it was insane. My name is Jay Paracalso. I'm here. Onslaught, Legend Onslaught is a bitch. That is my starting statement for the episode. I am so sick of dying at wave 30. I'm tired of people trying to join me from the D2 LFG Discord server, not having a rhyme or a reason or an idea of what a build is. People, I need you to get it together because it's just not working. I need y'all to get it together. Something just ain't clicking with your brain. I need you to figure it out. I don't know who lied to you and told you that 100 resilience ain't where it's at, but y'all need to get back in the swing of things and remember 100 resilience is the top dog of this damn game. The amount of people who are running in with 50, 60, 80 resil, I'm like, honey, who hurt you? Hell, I had 100 loaded on me with the only piece of armor that he had masterworked was his Orpheus rigs, and he had a mountaintop and a fucking what was it? He had a manticore, and his whole plan was to fly around like a freaking attack helicopter. And I'm like, brother, that ain't about to work.
No. And look, as a hunter, I'm gonna say that dude was the epitome of fail. Hopefully he learned that's not how it's gonna work.
Well, Mr. Spicy himself, he ain't Jesus no more, but he's still spicy. How you doing, Cajun?
I'm doing good. I gotta say, this week was definitely something else as far as between announcements from Bungie and then freaking chasing God rolls. Chasing God rolls been an absolute what the hell?
Oh, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? We've been having to go over the moon for some things.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, but I will say this. There's definitely a discussion to be had about freaking Mountaintop. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's the king ding dong in all freaking aspects, but
it ain't what it used to be.
Correct. It's not what it used to be. However, there are some damn good case uses for it. And the argument about God roll, oh yeah, we're about to dive into that shit.
Oh dear.
It's gonna be real
because some of y'all need to understand your opinion is your opinion. It's not concrete, it's not fact, and it's not a freaking one for all. You are freaking correct. No, seriously, some of y'all need to understand that God roll is subjective.
That's a fair statement.
We'll get to that. Let's finish introductions. The man who has returned from beyond the grave, it's felt like, man, the most controversial man in the room, king of the D3va Wrath fan club. D3va, how you been? Where you been, brother?
Can we say that I'm the king of the D3va Wrath fan club right now?
Pretty much.
D3va has returned as an engaged man.
Ooh, congratulations, brother! Congratulations.
Oh yeah,
this dude touched more grass than all three of us combined.
Yeah.
touch more grass than the whole Destiny community combined at this point.
He took his
Oh
ass
my
out and got
God, I've been
engaged, brother.
going.
Yes. By the way, congrats, freaking D3va.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys, man. I really appreciate it. From the whole community. I really appreciate you guys' love, support, and all of that.
All
Thank
right. Well, let's go ahead and dive in here because
Get
Bungie
it.
was hitting us upside the head this week, and I thought it was going to be a dry week. I thought it was going to be a real dry week. We was only going to have to talk about a couple of things, but we got the spice. Bungie hit us with the good stuff. We saw what was coming down the pipeline, and in terms of weapons this week, Bungie said, "Hey, yo, I heard y'all like some spice because the Midnight Coup came out, and there ain't a goddamn bad roll on that mug, man. The Midnight Coup came back. Now, granted, I'm gonna be the controversial man in the room.
Oh
That
shit.
that I'm gonna tell you what. Until Final Shape hits, and we get the ability to enhance these, I'm still using my Fatebringer time loss. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna be that person because all I kept seeing all week, ever since the announcements of what was coming out and when it came out, everyone's like, "Oh my god, Midnight Coup just power crept Fatebringer." No, it didn't. Y'all can think that, but like, you know what I still have? You know what I still have on my Fatebringer time loss that you don't have on Midnight Coup? A dead big ones. I don't need Midnight Coup. Is it cool that it can have kinetic tremors? Yes, but do I prefer Fatebringer time loss? Yes. And anyway, who's using a kinetic primary anyway?
I mean, the kinetic primaries
You're
in this
not wrong.
game
You're
are
not
just
wrong.
so bad.
And that's kind of on the fault of Bungie for like making the elemental game so hot with the 3.0s and the strand and the stasis that it was like, what's the fucking point of using anything else? Like, what is the point?
Which is why Mountaintop is so good. I can just boom. It's like a little rocket pistol, man. Just put it out, pow.
Well, let's talk about it. Mountaintop has returned to the people.
Yeah.
And I'll be the hater in the room. I don't see the hype, even though I'm normally the grenade launcher fiend. I'm the one grinding for Edge Transit because I love me some grenade launchers. But man, Mountaintop just ain't for me. If you like, Mountaintop just ain't for me. I'm sorry, like I don't know.
So I've had this discussion multiple times on my stream, and it amazes me the amount of people that say, "Oh, this is the only god roll. This is the only god roll for Mountaintop. You can't use anything else." No. That was the one thing that I gotta say Bungie did so freaking well. It's like, okay, let's slap on multiple of these really good perks to really make people think. Because newsflash, people, I'm gonna say this: god roll subjective.
Okay, hold on.
There are exceptions, just like everything else. There are exceptions. There are some weapons that you look at it, the data shows this is the god roll because per capital DPS, it's going to be bang for your buck. Okay, cool. I will concede that.
Okay, cool. At least you can concede that.
Okay, but in this case, let's look at the perk pool for let's look at column 3. You've got overflow, which is a really good one. You got auto-loading, really good one. You've got freaking lead from gold, another good one. You got ambitious assassin, another good one. 4 really good perks that have done well for other GLs in the 3rd column. Let's look at 4th column. You've got recombination.
Now hold on, Mister. You done messed up. You forgot a few perks there in that column. You forgot a few things, Mister. There ain't no such thing as a god roll because let's take a look at Slick Draw, a perk that means nothing in terms of the rest of this loadout because auto loading, ambitious, overflow, and you forgot demolitionist. Let's keep a spade here. You forgot about Demolitionist, one of the best reload perks in the game.
Well, first off, you didn't let me fucking finish, you ass. Okay.
Spicy.
Because, like I said, I was gonna go to number 4, recombination. You got one for all. You got Vorpal. Okay, and then you even have Frenzy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, You got all of that. But is there any really true one that states out that's like, this is the go-to? You got to use it in every piece of content because it's going to be the OP. No. Like, for instance, what I was talking about prior to the start of the podcast today, I've got Ambitious Assassin and Recombination. Through testing, Recombination will one-shot any champion without a stun.
Okay.
That's freaking nutty. If you got full stacks of Recombination, you go hit a freaking champ, it's deleted.
Right.
That's very freaking powerful to have in any form of content.
So wouldn't you say that's the best role for that gun?
Not necessarily. Because depending upon what content you're doing, you might have an edge case that you may not be able to get Recombination before every single champion. So in that case, you could even put it out that Vorpal is going to be the better in that situation, depending upon the content you're going for.
Somewhat, yeah.
Or let's say you're not going up against, champions. Let's say you're going up against bosses. Okay, Vorpal is going to be the better one. You're not going to be able to be consistently picking up bricks or be able to get multiple shots. Ambitious is not going to be the role for you. You're going to want something like auto loading. Or in the case of overflow, let's say you are able to fire off multiple shots because you're using Vorpal. Well, auto loading may not be the one for you, but overflow.
But you also have to think about like the case use. What is the player trying to do? Like,
and also, what is their play style too? And that's where cases of demo definitely has a chance to pop off for somebody, because not only do throwing a grenade, you're going to be able to get freaking the auto reload, and that's on a cooldown, but any weapon kill grants 10% of grenade ability energy, and plus pair that with indomitability, and you've got something that's got a good case for a grenade heavy build. So in this case, God roll is subjective to the individual and the play style and the build.
Now let me add an asterisk to this. Because here's the thing. If you look at, say, Flick Draw, Harmony, Rampage, because Rampage ain't the top dog that it used to be. Rampage is kind of in the gutter. Well, like anybody who say a Rampage is gonna any of these brave weapons is lying to you. Impulse Amplifier is kind of bad. It's kind of good for PvP, like for a PvP role, but that's about it. There can be subjectively said that, or like objective rather, that there are bad roles that to be had here. There are bad roles to get of these brave arsenal weapons. Now there are certain cases like Midnight Coup, where, to my knowledge, I haven't seen one bad perk on Midnight Coup that I've seen. Like, from what I've seen, third column, it's like Firefly, Explosive Payload, Shoot to Loot, Moving Target, Outlaw. Attrition Orbs has actually come out of left field and just said straight up, I'm actually worth a damn now, especially with a setup like Attrition Orbs and Kinetic Tremors. That could be a bad bitch right there. So definitely take a look at that. Enlightened Action has come out and been like worth people's time now, especially with the increased TTK in certain cases of PvP. So like we're in a situation with something like a freaking Midnight Coup where there's not a bad roll on it. But in terms of most of these weapons, like, there is some wiggle room of like, there isn't always like the perfect God roll here. I think Mountaintop is a perfect example of this ain't the hottest shit, but can it be hot shit? Most definitely.
I don't think that. Personally, if you ask me, Mountaintop is absolutely goated. If you get a halfway decent roll of Mountaintop, it can completely change your damage rotation. It 100% is going to be my go-to kinetic slot weapon when I'm not running particular like flavor for my like builds for like Strand and Stasis. If I just need something to go in there, legitimately, the micro missile archetype of breach loaders with auto loading, any other perk you put on there is going to be fucking fantastic, no matter what. As long as you get an auto loading roll or an ambitious roll, Mountaintop by itself it just shines because for what it is, you got a little baby rocket that you can just shoot at people on the go. It shoots straight. You have barely a little bit of like skill calculation that you had to put into it. It just does. The archetype itself does a lot of damage because of like the breach loader buff that they just gave it.
Yeah,
it's goated. I'm telling you. Like I've been running around.
A lot of breach loader GLs has definitely noticed an uptick because of that freaking buff, and I'm freaking here for it.
Every bit of it, man.
It feels like right now in the PvE scene that you definitely have some good cases to use GLs versus
definitely.
Let's say Rapid Fusion, which has saw a massive uptick in PvE. Thanks to Riptide and then now Scatter Signal. So I'm here for it, but
I'm really sad that Riptide ain't gonna be the shit come Final Shape, man. I'm real sad.
I'm gonna say this for a lot of people playing, regardless of Onslaught or any other freaking content, freaking start looking at freaking Forerunner, because I know I've been freaking I've been preaching freaking Scatter Signal for a while.
Forerunner's a bad mamma jamma.
Oh man,
Forerunner inside freaking even Legend. It will dome and freaking tear apart some freaking yellow bars. I am here for it.
Now I'm a little worried about Bungie because it's starting to be a menace in PvP. So I'm a little worried they're gonna forget about that. Hey, we have 2 sandboxes here.
Exactly.
And they're gonna mess up. So Bungie, hear my plea. Just leave Forerunner alone. Just fix the ammo economy. Fix the ammo economy when it comes to the game, and make it
fix it in PvP. Fix it in PvP. Leave PvE alone.
Leave PvE alone. Let Forerunner shine in PvE. Hell, people forget, if you go finish your damn Catalyst with Xur, you got a free grenade sitting in your pocket. That thing is deadly as hell in both PvE and PvP. So like people forget about.
I almost wiped the entire fucking wave over on Midtown with that grenade. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, people forget about that grenade. It's deadly. So like, if you just go, like, you just like hit your reload button and proc it and then just chuck it, it does work. Like that, like Master Chief's little pistol there does some dirty things for folks. Granted, I already pissed off the Halo community by deleting my other half, but that's fine.
Dear.
But anyway, let's go ahead and dive into the twin here, because Bungie.
Speaking about pissing people off,
well, Bungie sent people into a panic on this weekend. So like on Thursday, Bungie flat out first like paragraph of the twin was like Final Shape Raid June 7th. And people were losing their mind.
3 days after the launch of Final Shape. The last time we had this was Garden of Salvation and Shadowkeep.
Right, yeah. I need to pull up my data again because I wanted to go over that specifically.
Yeah, but it's been so long since we've seen something like this. So it really, like, a lot of people are like, why? There's hardly any prep time. You're not giving people prep time for this. And plus, this was done a month and a half. That much of a change, a lot of people felt that this should have been announced a lot sooner to allow people time to adjust, adjust their plans, because a lot of people were thinking, So I'm kind of in that boat, but Bungie did come back and give a bit of an explanation. So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to one of the project leads, Katarina Mercado. I hope I said her name right. She came out and expressed that the reason that this is happening is that the last mission of the Final Shape campaign is being time gated by the world's first raid. Once that's done, the last mission will become available and will complete the story for Final Shape. Because 2 weeks after is going to be the start of the first episode.
Now, but here's the thing, and I told Cajun this on Thursday when this was announced. Bungie already told us this. Blackbird told us this when the Final Shape dev stream happened a few months, like 6-7 months back. But Bungie told us this
8 months ago.
We were told that they were going to be the opening of the key. And the thing about it is, if we look at the data here,
right, but Bungie, okay, right. So Blackburn did tell us this,
right?
But it was the fact of a lot of people were expecting that same gap, that consistency that we've been seeing, instead of it being like 10 days, now it's 3 days.
I think that's a good thing.
That is what threw people off. Now, another tidbit, but that's the thing. Going back to what you were saying, it's been 8 months since a lot of the information came out. That I feel weird saying this, but thank you, Reddit, for freaking sharing, for compiling this information. Someone went out and compiled all the information from the past 8 months of all the information about Final Shape. And this is one thing that a lot of people need to be made aware of. There's a new fire team power system coming in play.
Yep.
So there's still going to be light levels. However, fire team power system, this is from the Final Shape reveal showcase recap. To ensure you can always play with your friends, most activities that use power will include a new fire team power feature. Let's say you want to play on Nightfall, but your friends' power levels are low enough that they would have a difficult time.
Yeah, that's stupid.
No problem, because once they join your fire team, the member with the highest power level will boost the rest of the team to close to their level for as long as you are all together.
Yeah, I hate
this
that.
way, no one will be left behind. So other MMOs, and I'm gonna say that because Luke Smith and Bungie has called Destiny an action MMO.
They have.
Other MMOs have similar features to where basically it allows lower level characters to be able to play with your friends in some content, not all.
Which is fine. Here's my issue with this, and the fact that it says Nightfall specifically. This is the definition of carry culture personified. Bungie should not be awarding people for doing carry culture. If you want to play this game, you should have to do enough content to play on higher levels of difficulty. You should not be able to be like, hey, yo, I want to go play a GM. Can I play a GM with you, streamer? No, god damn it, no. Like you should be required to meet the threshold that everybody else met to get into the GM. Like that's why I used to really enjoy the power system when we had light level being renewed every every season, etc. Because or at the very least, it should be expansion based, where you have to meet the soft cap and the hard cap. I'm not because I'm willing to meet in the middle. It shouldn't be every season, because every season can be kind of excessive for some individuals. You don't have enough time frame. But every expansion, you have 6 months, a year, whatever, to get to the hard cap and the soft cap to play with your friends. If you can't play with your friends and have a good build to where you're able to play on that skill level, I don't know what to tell you. And then, I remember when they announced this, I was side-eyeing it. I was very much like, this feels like y'all want to reward carry culture, and that's not okay.
I mean,
so go ahead.
Carry culture is kind of the basis, the backbone of this game at this point. Like, look at some of the best PvP streamers. One of the best that I can think of off the top of my head, Grenader Jake. Grenader Jake, arguably known for being the person that helps carry people who might not be able to go to the lighthouse on their own, to kind of do it on its own. I mean, to kind of get them there or help them over the hump. Cross, Cactus. A lot of people that really make it in the content creator space provide information and help newer players. Right? We can all agree on that, right?
Right, and we've tried our best to do that as well. But the thing about it is, I'm more of an advocate for creating builds. One thing Astrocross has done recently is build battles. Granted, I think him banning people from his Twitch chat for losing the build battle is a little extreme. But the idea of build battles where it's like, hey, cool, you're able to show your intelligence by creating a build and put it up against somebody else's in content. That's a great idea. I love that. But and I think Jake is amazing. I think what Jake's going right through right now financially, well, like the way that he posts on Twitter fucking sucks, and I wish him the best with his lawsuit. But I've never been fully in support of what Jake does because it rewards laziness. It rewards people who don't want to put the work in where other people have put the work in. So, granted, is Trials a sweaty hellscape? Yes. But and people were busting my balls about my KD in the past few comments in the past few videos I made. But I've worked my butt off to be able to go flawless every weekend this season because I put the work in. I wasn't carried. I wasn't like somebody who fucking did a freaking Sherpa of anything like that. And people will come through my streams and be like, carry me. I'm like, no, I can barely get here myself. I put the work in and show that I put the work in. So I'm not the biggest fan of being like, hey, yo, fire team level. You shouldn't be rewarded because, like, in an instant where me and D3va did the work, but Cajun didn't. Like, Cajun shouldn't be rewarded because he didn't do the work. You know what I mean? It just feels weird
I am of
to
the
me.
opinion that the climb to the top isn't necessarily what makes this game great. Right? I understand the grievance of like, okay, some people just come in and ask for other people to do the work for them.
Exactly.
But what about what I would argue is the majority of players who legitimately are returning, and they might not have all the tools or all the time to like go through all this content to get everything that they need, and they just want to come and play with their friends for a little while.
Tough titty. I'm sorry. That's a tough traveler right there, dog.
Like
to actually do the stuff.
I'm gonna side with D3va on this one. This system does give a chance and reward players that have skill, as well as maybe returning player and have the freaking armor, but they don't have the power level.
Right.
And now they have that opportunity to be able to play with their friends, and not in a carry situation, but in an actual cooperative manner. That's what this system is supposed to be there for. Now, are people going to use and abuse this?
Of course.
Of course. Okay. That's what happens in any type of situation with this type of system. Okay. Any player that plays WoW, any player that plays Final Fantasy 14, that they have similar systems in place will attest to this. However, just because there are some people that will abuse it doesn't knock that this could have potentially really good outcomes. Okay. Granted, let's say someone is skillful and this is allowed for raids, not master raids, but just normal raids.
That I could get behind. I'm willing to admit, like, hey, but at the same time, though, other than the newest raid, Bungie has been very done well, and I'm willing to praise Bungie for this. They've been like, hey, yo, if you're brand new, fresh out the gate, as long as you have hit 1600, you can come into any raid in the game beyond the newest one. That's great. That is awesome.
Like the base.
Right, that's the base. That's what you come in as currently as a player.
Here lies my critique of that though. Like, this is just an evolution of that. Like, you come in at 1600 and you can go. But if you come in at 1600, you are severely dropping the power level of your teammates. And that means that they have to work even harder. So if players are coming in fresh out of the fucking grave, wanting to join in to master raids and like GMs.
Well, no, master raids are like different power levels. So if memory serves me right, Volta class master is freaking a different power level than, let's say, normal.
Any master raid has a specific light requirement.
Herein lies my thing though. Like, you get in and you come in with the bare minimum, you're dropping your team's power, meaning
Correct.
that your team has to work harder. So it's not going to just be a bunch of new lights coming in begging for carry culture.
Here's the thing: if let's say a piece of content 1600, and a player and you got multiple people coming in, and one of those people on the team is 1600, the damage they do is going to be about the same, roughly same weapon as someone who's like 1835.
Correct. They scale it specifically that way. Like right. Even if you have like 1800 loot or 1810 loot, you're not busting the whole
that
thing.
1600 individual is not going to be, as far as damage wise, a handicap.
Right.
Now, where there will be potential handicap is going to be their knowledge of the raid, their freaking skill level, and what weapons they have accessibility to for damage rotation.
That's right. That's fair. But the example they give in the article / Reddit post that we're looking at, which is copy and pasted from the twid that they got it from, is they cite Nightfall. If somebody randomly Joe Schmo or who hasn't put a ton of work in, who was like 1790 or 1800, says, "Hey streamer, I want to go do a GM with you. Can I come with you?" Or like they just come in and want to do it. Or there's one guy that we used to have in the clan who like he had a adept Rufus Fury, but he had never done hardly any content. He said he got carried through a Master Ron. And it was like, huh? Like this is what I'm advocating for. Of like, hey, we should not be incentivizing carry culture. And one dude said it in chat just now. He's coming back after a 2-year stint. He's not being he's not looking to be carried. He's looking to be shown the way. That's cool. You're looking to be shown the way. But if you haven't even taken your first steps, you don't know what the way is or where the yellow brick road is. You need to be able to get your freaking ruby slippers, but before you can go down the yellow brick road. And not enough people are willing to put get the ruby slippers on.
Like, it depends on the content.
I am right. Depending upon the content, and that's the one thing that you need to really look into that quote. And that was taken from the Final Shape recap. Right. So that came directly from the devs.
Correct.
But notice what it said. Most activities. They're not planning to implement this through all activities. And they give the example of Nightfalls. They didn't say Grandmaster Nightfalls.
True.
And there's 3 other Nightfalls. You got Hero, you got Legend, and you got Master. Now, Hero is the only one that is match made. Whereas Legend and Master, they're not like GMs. Master is close to this difficulty of GM.
Correct.
But one of the major differences is that 1, modifiers, and then 2, it doesn't have extinguish.
Right.
So you're able, like, if you die, you're gonna have a shorter res timer. And if all three players wait out your res timer, you're gonna be able to come back into the fight.
Right. Now I do want to go back to the 3-day situation real quick. So let's recap what we've been through, folks. Forsaken came out September 4th of 2018.
Yep.
Last Wish was 10 days later. Cool. That's a decent time frame. Shadowkeep came out October 1st. Garden came out October 5th. That's a 4-day gap. So that was the last time we had a significant, like, very close to the start thing. And then Beyond Light came out November 10th. And then we saw Deepstone specifically come out, where is it? Deepstone came out November 21st, which is 11 days. So that was the first time we got a big gap of, hey, we're going to give y'all a little bit more time to breathe before we throw you in. Then Witch Queen came out on February 22nd. And then we saw, what is it? Vow come out on March 5th. Another big gap. Yeah. So I'm willing to, and I kind of referenced this before. I'm willing to give people the argument of, oh, there was a precedent set, But here's some factors we need to build into the equation. A, Bungie did say back in November or whatever the showcase was that the last mission was going to be unlocked by the raid, because Blackbird even said, we want to make sure that non-raiders are able to contribute to the ending of the Light and Darkness saga. It wasn't just going to be, Salta Grepo and whoever the fuck else kills the witness and we all go home. It's we want to make sure that there is going to be a way for Joe Schmo, who only does strikes, to also contribute to the ending of the Light and Darkness saga, and that was said. So when this hit on Thursday, I was like, that makes sense. Like I didn't question it. I didn't say shit. I was very much like, why are y'all complaining? Like this was very much open to the public a while ago that there was going to be a set system of, hey, campaign, do raid, then do mission to end off everything. We knew this was happening. I'll give y'all a little bit of grace that it's been a decent amount of time, but this was known. We knew about this. This was known. We knew what was up. Wake up a little bit, folks. I'm sorry. I'll
be honest with you. I think this is a really good idea. I would like for more raids to actually come out this way. I think that this is actually going to give a really decent raid race, because people aren't prepping for 2 weeks or a week and a half to get ready for the raid.
We're gonna touch on that in a second.
Well, I'm gonna say this when it comes to the whole raid prep. The problem with the 3-day is that this still gives those, I'm gonna say this, either full-time content creators or those with no jobs, the ability to freaking focus those 3 days on being able to prep for the raid, where versus someone like, let's say, they are skillful enough, they've done day one raids before, but now because of the change, let's say they decided, I'm not going to be active at the very launch of Final Shape, but
that's a bad idea.
The next Tuesday, I'm going to jump in there, get to going, and I'll be ready. Well, now that shit got thrown out the freaking door. And in the case of myself, right now, I'm having to adjust my PTO request. Originally, I was only going to take 2 days off for Final Shape launch. Now I have to take off that entire week in order to feel like I'm going to have any chance of being able to do day one raid outside, because if I can't get it approved, I'm out. I've lost out on that.
And the thing about it is that's the only era of area where I'll give the complaint, the complaint merit of Bungie should have given us a little, especially with the delay of Final Shape originally. That is the only reason why I will give anybody grace of being frustrated. I don't care that it's 3 days, a 3-day time frame. I care that Bungie didn't give people more time. Because the one person even said, hey, we planned our wedding a year in advance or 6 months in advance, and then Bungie went, hey, we're going to delay Final Shape, and now the raid's on this day. That sucks. They don't get to participate because of that, and that sucks. So I'm willing to give that more frustration credence than, we have less prep time. No, here's the thing. The old hey, let's bust out a bunch of bounties and get this thing done. That was never in Bungie's equation. Bungie never planned on y'all grinding bounties to the extent that we do. And then hell, Bungie even tried to stop people from prepping the way they used to, where they used to limit y'all on freaking deleting your character and grinding for more pinnacles to hit the power cap faster. Because that's what people used to do. They would delete their character, run through the campaign again, get power levels and pinnacles and whatnot, and then and move it to their other characters, and then delete it again and do the whole thing. And it was Bungie avidly tried to hinder that because they thought that was dumb. This is kind of the same thing of we don't want you just being ready, guns loaded, ready to go. We want you to load in, do that campaign, see Cade, and then get ready to fight. We want to be we don't want you having 50 fucking exotic class items with every build imaginable ready to choose from. We want you to pull up, square up, finish it off, and then figure out what else we have in store. Because Tuesday, the following Tuesday, episode 1 is coming out, where it's the next chapter after the Light and Darkness saga. So Bungie has pretty much been hey yo, just ride the wave. Just ride the wave, get on board, or get off the boat. That's pretty much what they're kind of saying here. And I'm kind of here for it.
So my thing is this: is as much as I enjoy this game, and I really do, I think that this is the repercussions of what Bungie's had to endure. I'm not saying that they're punishing people, but with like people leaking the raid as soon as it comes out, with people like doing all of this shenanigans and gatekeeping the raid and ruining the experience for a lot of people, being or coming in with this thing, especially like with a lot of people being like, you know, the raid race isn't as fun because so many people are doing it and succeeding. Like, so it doesn't feel challenging enough. It's not hard enough.
Okay, hold on. Rewind. I need you to get that rhetoric out your mouth, because no one ever said we don't like it because people were succeeding. People didn't like Ron.
Hear me out. When the conversation about Ron's difficulty turned into look at the completion rate, that is when we had a conversation about people.
No, okay.
They're saying they said the completion rate wasn't being high was because the difficulty was not there, the mechanics weren't there, and the ability to complete it proficiently within 1 to 2 tries. Hell, you were there with me on day 1 of Ron D3va. We beat first encounter within an hour. That's not what people were used to. People were used to having to figure out mechanics and be there for multiple hours. And someone even just said in chat, Ron is my favorite dungeon because Ron feels like a dungeon. It was like Ron, it doesn't feel like a raid.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. Ron, for what I've been seeing, Ron is one of those raids that is very easy to freaking 3-man, just like Fog. Yeah. So it is very much a dungeon.
Herein lies the thing. People are so afraid of change. This can be like, I will stand on the fact that Ron could have been.
I'm gonna say I agree.
I'll say that the damage checks.
Hold on. I'm gonna say I will agree with that statement, D3va, but only for PvP community.
Not PvE 2. PvE 2, 100%.
No,
because 100%.
No. PvE community is more accepting of change versus the PvP community.
Agreed.
Compared to the PvP community, yes, we are more accepting of change. However, if you're going to ask me, despite them, yes, we are 100% unwilling to accept change in a lot of places. A lot of places. Because when Bungie tries to do new things, look at Lightfall. Like, granted, I'm not going to sit here and say Lightfall's story was the best.
You're walking on hot coals right now, D3va.
When they wanted to try something new, a lot of players were like, look, why are you doing new shit? If you were going to do new shit, you should have told us first so we could be ready for the new shit. You went out and tried, and now you failed, and now I don't like it because it's new, and new makes me feel weird. A lot of players had that sentiment. A lot of us. And I'm not going to sit here and say that you're wrong. It's okay to feel that way. But when let's
rewind to the beginning of Lightfall because I recall the conversation that you, me, and a previous host had that I was the one advocating with Bife and the rest of the people of, if Bungie wanted to change things up, there should have been TWIDs. There should have been information given, because their press department made Lightfall seem like it was the Infinity War. It was the beginning of the end, and then the end is going to wrap up in final shape. That's what the press people said. Okay. That's what they did. And y'all told me I was on crack. And I even used the example of people were like, "Hey, where's the fucking, what's that damn gun called? The fucking solar hand cannon that's buried in my vault that I never freaking used. The one that was on the Lightfall cover. That
Epitaph.
Not some like the Apoca, whatever the hell, whatever the hell. You know what I'm talking about. Like
I'm gonna say
the weird graffiti gun, the weird graffiti looking gun. That one specifically, I was like, where's this? Where's the grenade launcher? Which we still ain't got that damn grenade launcher. I think it's fucking hilarious. Like where are all these things that were on the poster? And then Bungie in the TWID, not on day of release, not months in advance. People were like, on the TWID a week later, we're like, hey, look, we like the gun that's in the poster, the hand cannon, you're gonna get that next season in basically what was the equivalent of the Born in Darkness missions that went and Beyond Light that were available at the minute you finished the campaign. And it was like, wait a minute, Bungie, this is a little weird. And then it was like, hey, we're gonna keep giving you more story tidbits and yada yada all throughout the year, like at the Veil and whatnot. But as we know,
it did quite work out.
If you look at the map, you can't even see that fast travel point to get to those audio logs. And B, other than one time during Season of the Deep, those audio, like, they gave you a pop-up like, hey, Osiris and Nimbus found new audio logs. Like, Osiris and Nimbus have new audio logs for you, which was one time, even though all throughout the year there's been multiple times that happened, and Bife even commented on it. Motherfuckers didn't know about that shit.
No.
It was the worst way of doing storytelling they ever did.
Bro. Hear me out. And I'm not saying you're wrong. All I am saying is that they tried something new. Granted, it failed. It failed. But here lies the problem. People aren't saying that, look, if we don't mind you trying new shit, it's just this one wasn't good. People are coming forward like, look, the fact that you tried something new is why it failed.
No, that's not that. They straight up said, we're down for new things. We are always down for new things. Hell, Bungie got praised for when they dropped Shattered Throne. Bungie got praised for different things they did. Bungie got praised for when Whisper first came out and Zero Hour first came out. They're always, and for Precious, when Presage came out. People are always down for new things, but it's when you don't communicate and when you do not verbalize in one form or another is when you upset people. And that's why the PvP community was bitching for months on end before the strike team was formed, because there was no updates for them about anything.
You want new content, not new ways of doing things.
No, they want communication. They want communication.
Fine. Everybody wants the communication. We're not arguing about that. But when Bungie tries new things, and granted, when Bungie tells you they're going to do new things, or they give you the communication, they're walking a razor-thin line of whether or not this new thing that they're about to tell everybody is going to cost them their head. And I can admit that. Like, look, that's kind of Bungie's fault, though. I admit that. Like, look, 100%, it shouldn't take for people to want to come for your head for them to feel like you listen.
Right, that was one thing you said when Dan was here.
I've said that numerous times. That should not be the way that the community feels they have to communicate with you. But also, they should not feel afraid to come out and tell you that they're trying a new thing out of fear that you're going to reject the new thing that they're doing. And right now, I personally think, like, 3 days ready to get into a raid? That means it's all about skill and people's ability to perform.
Most definitely.
And that, for me, I think that's earned. If it's going to be the raid race, I think that's earned. 100%. Because people don't have 50 million hours to leak the raid, data mine, and if they are going to do those things, Lord forbid they're anything less than Hacker Man, because it's going to require so much skill to pull it off that they're going to have to prove that they earned it.
So should we just go ahead and give Saltagrippa and his team the freaking belt at this point?
They ain't the only people running.
They didn't win last time. They didn't win for Crota.
They were mad about it. And like, look,
I say that very jokingly.
Well, and the thing about it is that's why Crota thrived, because not only did they tweak mechanics, but the difficulty was there. You had to figure out how to do you had to figure out how to do mechanics while also surviving under pressure, and not enough people could do that. It was about execution, survivability, and knowing what things, and being able to like the amount of times that the three of us with our team kept failing when it comes to remembering the freaking buff was on the screen. Granted, that was one thing that Bungie is working on, which we didn't talk about last week, which is they're working on new HUD changes, which
the UI changes. Definitely. So
give me my Final Fantasy ability to change and put stuff where I want it.
No, but they are moving stuff above head and over to the right too.
Okay,
like they're fixing that.
So D3va, I thought originally when we were watching the gameplay, I thought that they were going to give us that ability, but they're not.
I don't think they will.
However, they are splitting up a lot of the buffs and debuffs,
which is great,
into specific area. So encounter specific buffs. Like, let's say Golgoroth. As prime example, the freaking unstable light or freaking standing in the green goo, that stuff is going to be up at the top, right underneath your your not super bar, boss health, or no, your health bar. Your
health bar. Yeah, under the health bar.
Then your class specific buffs
are
going to be off to the side where they normally are. Weapon specific buffs are going to be right above your super bar, and then any debuffs outside of that area, whether it's class debuffs or let's say a weapon debuff or something, is going to be off to the freaking right. So that right there, from the way that they put everything up, looked a lot cleaner, looked a lot smoother, and felt like you're going to be able to track a lot of your buffs, debuffs, a lot better than the current system.
Exactly. I'm very excited about it. So like that's one thing that I wanted to make sure we vocalize there. Now, let's dig into the meat and potatoes of this twid. Apparently Bungie decided to make Hawthorne do a damn thing, but she probably ain't gonna have a new voice line for shit. But the Bungie is changing the way clans work, but sadly, D3va, you're not getting your nightclub.
If I just keep hacking away at them, slowly but surely, they'll get the idea.
So Hawthorne is getting a rank up track where you'll be able to get prime engrams, free raid banners, ascended alloy and ascended shards, which is dope as hell.
Okay.
And they're also changing the way the levels work for clan levels over the course of a season or episode, what have you. So level 2 is called the perk is called Live Fire Sale. Raid banners sold from Hawthorne will cost less. We don't know how much. We just know it's less, and which is a good thing since when Final Shape happens, we're only going to be using Glimmer from now on, which is going to be really good. Level 3 is going to be Bountiful Bounties. The first clan bounty completed each week will grant an exotic engram. Now, I don't know about y'all, but exotic engrams have become the new blues, where I have too many for their own good.
So, I kind of agree with that, but that's more for like end game for a lot of us that have been, playing this game for a while. But at the same time, how many of us are actually trying to focus, trying to get the better stat rolls? Yeah. I'm gonna tell you right now that getting that steady supply of exotic engrams is actually a freaking godsend.
I blame Farum because Farum's got me on the search for the God Roll Peacekeepers as well.
Oh,
so I blame Farum. But
y'all freaking crackheads with that.
Man,
I don't know.
I don't want to hear nothing because this past weekend at Trials, I have Forerunner in one hand and the Recluse in the other, and I was thinking motherfuckers hurt.
Hey, trust me when I say I feel you, because I'm trying to also, because of freaking, onslaught and stuff. I'm trying to refine a lot of my builds, especially for Hunter, for Final Shape, raid day one. Trying to perfect a lot of these builds to where I'm going to be able to roll in, and I've got the really stat gear. Hey, Bungie, fuck you if you disable any of my freaking builds again like you did last time, assholes. Anyways,
he's real sore about his.
I'm still salty as F. Anyways, so going back to this, so clan level number 4 of Hawks and Pigeons, raid rotator challenges grant spoils of conquest. Trials wins grant additional trials of reputation. That is a freaking win.
The fucking Lord. And you know why I say that? Is because I have been asking Bungie to make it so the weekly raid rotator has the ability to farm spoils. Because do you know how many times, granted, if you get a good fire team, like a good group of 3 motherfuckers, you could roll up into Crota, in the beginning of Vogue and the beginning of Vow and get about 60 spoils per week. But in terms of this, there's going to be weeks when Vogue rotates in and we can pull up the Templar and just grind for fucking spoils till we're blue in the face.
I think that's where people were worried.
Why?
Do we really want to go back to this?
Sure. That was great. Yeah, I missed that. Do you know how bad it was when Kingsfall and freaking Vow were in rotation, where you never had spoils for anything?
We're gonna do this, and we're gonna go back to spoils not meaning anything.
Okay, so let's put it like this. Okay. Yes, now we have a plentiful way of getting spoils.
Mhm.
So let's say us as a clan, we start doing, master raid content. We do the challenges
yeah.
to be able to freaking, let's say, master Nezarec. Now we can go freaking spend all those spoils to get better adept rolls. And look, some of those weapons now are starting to come out to be.
Hold up. You gotta be careful now. You might
Now,
ruin
here's
the
the but
grind.
also,
some of those
You
adept
might
weapons are coming
ruin
out to
you.
be freaking top tier. Okay,
Now,
we
also,
already know. We
what's
already
gonna
know
happen here
Rufus's
in a
Fury
minute-
is freaking cooking. All right, the GL out of that, the Strand GL, that's come into the freaking light because of the GL buff. So people are want to go get that adept roll, try to get that freaking surrounded roll on it to freaking cook with it. And then let's look at Final Shape launch. Final Shape launch comes in.
we don't know what we're getting.
Exactly, and it's
Herein
probably going to adopt the
lies my
same system.
concern. Herein lies my concern. We've had a lot of conversation in the clan, in the community, about the need for the chase. Can we all agree that has been a prominent conversation?
But this is going
This
to
is
be
going-
that chase. This is going to be that chase.
This
Hey,
is
go farm your spoils.
Go farm your
Then
spoils.
take
so you don't
then
have
take
to
your spoils
continue to-
and go freaking chase that adept roll by purchasing.
Because you still need to beat Nezzy. You still need to beat Nezzy.
Here's-
You still that's hell.
here's the
I'll even
problem.
throw another monkey wrench. I'll throw 2 monkey wrenches at you, Diva.
Get the throwing.
What's gonna happen?
And then
when-
you also have to unlock the weapon. So that means that you're got to do all the master challenges for
Herein
every
lies
encounter.
the
Well, let me
to
throw
unlock the
my wrenches. So what happens when they make it so Vogue has crafted and enhanced weapons? You know, my ass and every other PvP main is gonna be back in fucking Atheon grinding for our damn found verdicts again. Which means we're gonna need to be Atheon again, which means we're gonna need to spend the spoils again. Or here's another monkey wrench for you, Diva.
Okay.
What happens tail end of this year / beginning of next year when they go reprised wrath? And
Herein
then
lies
you have
the
things to
issue.
grind for Wrath, or they bring back Leviathan, and you
They
have
bring back
all these
all
spoils to
these
spend.
things. Yeah, they're gonna bring back all these things, but what's stopping people from being like, you know what? I don't want to grind in all of that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna do each challenge one time. Once all the challenges are active because of the raid rotator,
Right.
it's not gonna necessarily be that hard, but hey, it'll be a bit of a challenge. They go through, they knock out every raid challenge one time, but because they've been like one phasing the fucking bosses in Vogue getting a whole bunch of spoils. Now they just come in, bam. They do it one time, they get all the weapons, and then they just fucking go in and spend a whole bunch of stuff.
Have you ever purchased have you ever purchased an adept weapon like let's say freaking Nez? They expensive. At best you're gonna get like 4 attempts. And guess what? With the freaking perk pools that freaking look, I'm just gonna say some people got that RNG luck. Okay, they licking RNG's nuts and getting the good. All right, but I'm gonna say this. A lot of us. We missed the good and we get the freaking, we just gave him a rim job and it's not a fun time.
Oh my dear.
Okay.
But hear me out though. Like, look, I'm telling you, these things snowball. Like, sure, it's just let us get spoils right now. And then you need to up the spoil count. You know what? I got a lot of spoils that I'm holding on to. You need to up it so I can hold on to more. Because I've gotten all.
I mean, I've been saying for the longest time that you know that spoil
from
count.
This raid, that raid, this raid, that raid, and now I'm just holding on to spoils for the next raid to come out.
Lucky you.
And now I just don't have enough to get what I want, quote unquote, or a reason to spend it because there's no reason to spend spoils, especially once you really get into the system. Like you use them for crafting and like bettering some of your adept rows, but ultimately there's not very much reason to use them other than farming for your adept rows in the raid.
I'm not
if
hearing the
somebody
bad
met
thing
above
here, Dave. I'm not hearing the bad
Herein
thing.
lies the
Like
problem.
I've been saying for the longest time that
We
Bungie's
talked
up the
about
spoils camp.
crafting ruining
Yeah.
the chase. But when I can do everything else outside of playing the raid, sure, I play a little easier raid. And then I grind that when it's in rotation just to circumvent the need to actually go do the harder content or the content that people feel like I need to earn it in. I earned it in VOG. I take it over to Ron or Crota, and then I just do what I need to do. I just go straight to Crota, beat Crota, and then run that shit. And then go back to Atheon, one phase that motherfucker. What's the difference between that and just going through getting my 5 red borders, which takes a couple weeks, crafting the weapon I want, and then leaving? Other than the gambling need for chance, have they earned it? Or have they done a lot of shit to circumvent doing the content the way Bungie designed the content to be done?
Like, if I have a tailor-made Rufus's Fury, and then me over here with my Abyss Defiant, I've been bouncing between Reconstruction and Heel Clip like it ain't no big thing. Versus if I had to have 240 spoils, if I went into Crota, or I went into Ron, and I had to play the lottery. The whole point of the looter shooter is to play the lottery. Did I get my Reconstruction roll, or did I get my Heel Clip roll? That is what people enjoy about the looter shooter experience. Not, hey, I went and got 5 things. I have these 5 things. I did my 5 things. I have this God roll. No matter what happens, I have this perfect God roll after doing 5 things.
The content the way that Bungie designs you to play the content. I'm telling you.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Because if we're sitting here farming a freaking a challenge to get spoils, we're doing
to go get the most resources.
Hold up.
To go and do the thing just to beat the boss so you can get to the kiosk at the end, just so you can spend those spoils so you can go back to doing
you do realize when it comes to raid rotator challenges, every raid has a challenge that is prominent for that week on top of the weekly raid. Okay. So you've got so many offerings, whether it's freaking Vow, whether it's freaking Rooter Nightmare, VOG, King's Fall, Crota's End, regardless, you've got options.
Okay.
And if they're giving us the ability to get increased, to grant spoils of conquest from the challenges of the raid rotator, that's intended. That's Bungie saying, go do these challenges. And by the way, these challenges are part of seals.
Yeah, they are. They actually are part of seals.
Players from waiting until the easiest challenges come up to do the easiest challenges. Whichever they are.
I'm gonna say this. That's a player mentality.
Yeah, that's a player mentality.
And I'm gonna say that's a freaking
and quitting out and then coming back. Because if I know one thing for sure, 2 things for certain, it's always the path of least resistance with this community. And the path of least resistance that I can tell you.
Let's talk about path of least resistance and let's bring up freaking onslaught. Okay. Yeah. We'll semi jump the freaking gun. By the way, there's 2 additional more clan levels and reworks, and with number 6 being completing all clan challenges in a week grants an ascendant alloy, which, hey, more oranges for everybody. I'm freaking cool with that.
Great.
Okay, so let's jump the gun. Let's talk about onslaught and the rewards. So Bungie had to put out a series of tweets that basically said, hey, we've been hearing feedback. We understand that going to Legend 50 is not as rewarding as sitting there grinding just level 10 or Legend 10 onslaught over and over and over again. So we're going to address that. 1, starting from level 10 upward, escalating in increased chances, you will get 1 additional weapon. And then on top of level 50, you will get an additional guaranteed weapon drop. So that's 2 weapon drops on top of the 3 chests at the end. They're also going to increase the trophies for normal at levels 40 and 50 and then 30, 40, and 50 on legend. So they're trying to address the reward structure. Here's my thought on this. I still don't think it's quite enough.
No,
and I'm not saying, and I want to hear me out. I'm not saying with the weapons. I think the amount of weapons, it's hitting. I'm talking about other things. I think they could throw in some, if you're doing legend, ascendant shards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because let's be honest, legend, you're going to be making builds. You're going to be trying to hone and perfect builds. So that means you're going to be rolling freaking exotic engrams. You're going to be needing to replenish.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to keep rolling this content, especially long term, since it's going to be permanent. Make this as rewarding as freaking coil.
Especially, and this is me cutting into what we're going to dig into in a minute once Destiny 2 Final Shape comes out, what's leaving and what's dipping. We know for a fact that focusing is leaving, as in like target farming these weapons is leaving, which I'll get into my opinion about that in a minute. We know that's leaving. Bungie should be upping the reward count overall for the weapons as well. If that were me, I'd put 2 chests at the end of each set of 6, because if you're gonna make me go fight a mini boss, and especially when those fucking legend mini bosses are able to double freeze you with stasis.
Yeah.
Give me a chest, Bungie. Like, if we're gonna be, especially if you're gonna get rid of target farming, give me more chances for loot. But in terms of it, I think one thing Datto said in his video about it that really spoke to me was it's kind of sad that Coil has more rewards at the end of its platinum track in terms of like weapons, armor, ascendant alloy, ascendant shards, enhancement cores, enhancement prisms. That's more rewarding for the average player than doing a Legend 50. Hell, most people can't even get to a Legend 50. So if you like, when most people get stopped at 30, hell, I'm getting stopped at 30. It's irritating the crap out of me. Like, if you get to Legend 50, that should be where the big bucks are. That should be where the buku money is. If you get to the end of Legend 50, it shouldn't just be 2 chests or 3 chests at the end of the road. It should be like 5 chests. Like you should get teleported back to the Hall of Champions or something, where Shaxx goes, "Here's a bunch of loot, Guardian." Like, it should be buku money instead of Shaxx just showing up and being like, "Here's 3 chests, Guardian." Like, it doesn't feel like the splendor is there compared to what Coil gives you. So I think Bungie is trying.
Here's the other thing with Coil, and I think this is what makes Coil the better example of rewarding structure, is that it's got additional chests throughout the entirety of the pathways, and essentially in this activity you've got 3 sets of weapons. You got the seasonal weapons, you got the sub-seasonal weapons, and then you've got the Dreaming City weapons, which got reworked. And some of them are they're slapping.
Mm-hmm.
They're slapping good. So don't sleep on them. Looking at you, Tiger Spite.
How did I know you were going to say that?
Dude, it freaking rocks. Shut up. Anyways, but here we go. We got this one activity. We don't have the chance for additional chests throughout, which I think that's something that needs to be addressed. Bungie, here's an idea. If your team is able to complete all additional objectives, the bonus objectives for that set of waves at the 10, give an additional chest reward. Okay, if you got good teamwork, we should be getting rewarded, not just freaking heavy ammo, but give us if we're able to do it every bonus objective, give us at that 10, give us an additional chest.
Also, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Bungie only giving you 1 singular trophy coin thing after completing a bonus objective is freaking stupid. I went and captured this point while also fighting 2 brigs. Here's a coin. Like, I went and got all these relics while fighting waves of enemies. Here's a coin. Like, granted, the one like, it's 1 coin. Like, it feels kind of weird. I'm
But
like,
it's the coin you
especially with the
earned.
coins themselves, you need 10 of them to focus, pick up a weapon from the chest at the hall.
Mhm.
Can I get some more, please?
By the way, are the trophies going to be leaving?
No,
After this,
that they're staying. Like for well, at least they're not mentioned in the thingamabobber. They're not mentioned in the thing.
About the whole
At
hall
this-
thing.
at
Well,
that-
actually, it says the
point-
hall is leaving. It says the hall is leaving.
yeah. So
So
the
that's
gift,
like-
I know the gift of the Thunder Gods is supposed to be moving someplace else, from my
Mhm.
understanding. But in regards to the trophies, they need to let us know: are they staying or are they going?
Well, let's talk about that.
looks
Let's
like
talk
they're
about this
going.
real quick. So,
All right.
I'm gonna skip Pantheon for now. We'll get into that. But Into the Light and Pantheon Seal will be leaving at the end of the thing. The Brave limited edition weapons, the shiny variants, are leaving. Which, to anybody who wants them to up the shiny weapon drop rate, shut up. Like, genuinely, shut up. And like if you the whole joke of calling them shiny weapons is in relation to shiny Pokemon. Like, you know how hard it is to get a shiny Pokemon in this day and age, even with a shiny charm. Shut up. Anyway, the hall and associated quests are leaving, including them getting rid of like, hey, you gotta get this many kills with one weapon, which means the parade armor and the parade ornaments and the super black is leaving, which Bungie, that's some fucked up shit. You're like super black for like 2 months, and if you didn't get it, you gotta come back for it a different day. Like that's a little sus, in my opinion. That's a little sus. But
I mean, are you surprised though?
Nah, not at all.
It's the reason why I've been so upset with this content, because I knew Bungie was doing underhanded shit like that. And I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
That really has skewed my enthusiasm for the final shape. Because if you watch or read as much, like, I've been really big into my mental health, I feel as if this content, just in general, from a business standpoint, has been FOMO to get people addicted to get back into the game.
Oh, of course it is. Most definitely.
They will come and spend some more money on the final shape. But if you got to do shit like that, what does that say about your market?
They said we handed you the thing that you've been asking for over 10 years. Well, not over 7 years to come back. Super black. And you get it for 3 months. That's dirty.
To get people afraid that, like, if I miss out, it might not ever come back again. They're gonna put it in Neververse in a package, be like, yeah, all that stuff from the Brave Arsenal. Spend $50, you can get it right now.
And think about this for a second. Up until people complained, you weren't gonna be able to get Super Black until the tail end of May.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got like 2 weeks.
So you were gonna have maybe 2 weeks to get them couple quests done that you needed for like Blast Furnace and Hammerhead, and then it was like, hey, did you get Super Black? Oh, you didn't? Well, too bad. Like Bungie almost got away with some dirty antics right there.
But
like
that right there is the reason why I'm looking at them a little screwed. And I'm gonna keep this rant a little brief.
All right.
I'm gonna say my piece.
All right.
Bungie, I do not appreciate this. This is exactly the kind of shit that has me looking at you very skewed. I know a lot of people are excited for Prismatic and a lot of the new stuff coming in the final shape. But for me, as a customer, looking at this from a purely business standpoint, this right here, Bungie, we just had this conversation. People lost their jobs over this. Your predatory FOMO and Eververse antics have got to come to a stop.
I don't know, man. I got my Season of Dawn armor. It's looking pretty nice, man. I don't know.
That is nice, and I'm happy for you. I know you've been wanting that for quite some time. I'm so happy for you. But, like, look, we literally just had people go on the PvP riots talking about the predatory nature of the Eververse store and cosmetic content either not being put in the game for reasonable, like, I pay for the season, but the best armor and the best stuff is in Eververse, where I gotta go pay some extra money for it, or the fact that you don't put as much energy or as much time into the content that people can earn through not paying you, but just playing the game. And now you're like, okay, FOMO, but also Super Black and the Hall of Heroes, which is, I look at it as kind of like the Shaq's version of the Treasure Hoard for like Xur. Like, why does this need to leave?
Right. Why is that leaving? Why not put that? Why not put that somewhere on the tower map? Like, why is that? Like, it finally gave credence to one of our merch shirts of the freaking the pulling Grandma Ava out the closet, and yet Bungie's like, nah, we're gonna get rid of all this hard work we just did. We're gonna get rid of it. It's like, why? Why get rid of it?
FOMO to get people coming in and be like, you can't earn this unless you play right now, knowing that burnout is at an all-time high, knowing that people wanting to engage with Destiny content is an all-time low. Like,
I will say this though. I will say this: Bungie keeping Whisper and 0 hour in the game permanently post Final Shape. W. And the reason why I say W is because if you look at collections and if you look at the Monument of Lost Light, you can't get old Outbreak and Whisper anymore. You got to get the crafted versions, homie. Yet they took them motherfuckers out the monument. So if you don't,
I already bought my thing.
So if you don't have the OGs still in your vault, too bad, so sad. Like come May when Outbreak comes out or 0 hour comes out, you ain't never gonna get old Outbreak again unless you were there for it. And that's pretty underhanded to me. But at the same time, granted, why would you ever just want like normal Outbreak or a normal Whisper anyway? But like, I will give Bungie a W for them being like, hey, we're not taking Whisper and 0 hour out of the game again. I can respect it. I can give them hell, them saying, hey, these 3 PvP maps we're making, they're not leaving. Which if they left, I'd be questioning Bungie's sanity. If y'all put all the effort in to make these PvP maps that aren't even out yet, y'all better make sure that they stay in the game.
True, but I'm also just like, Bungie, like, where is all this free? Like, it's like you give me, like my grandma used to say, you're like a cow giving an immaculate bucket of milk just to kick it over. Like, this content, on one hand, I can admit, Onslaught is a decent content drop.
Onslaught is the best mode we've had since Menagerie.
I mean, you don't want to say that.
I'm saying it. I'm saying it. Onslaught in terms of
I'm about to blow your mind. If you're going to say that,
no. I know what you're going to say. I know exactly what the fuck you're going to say. But in terms of ad density, in terms of difficulty, in terms of just rewards overall. But this is the most rewarding and the most challenging and the most overall best content we've had since Menagerie. And I will die on that hill. And you know what's funny? I said this a couple days ago, and then immediately Salta Greppo agreed with me, and I was like, damn.
I'm gonna be honest,
that kind of funny.
You're on your own on this one. I'm sorry, I can't back you.
Okay, speak on it, then. Speak on it. How am I wrong?
This is the best content since Menagerie. Honestly, I'll be honest. Menagerie wasn't really that good to me. Be honest with you. I think it was pretty meh, but that's just me. Considering that we've had Menagerie a bajillion and one times.
We really haven't though, D3va.
I'm gonna say this, JP. Are you really surprised? This is the guy that's been advocating for a freaking clan house in order to do freaking DJ raids, club raids in the freaking tower. Okay, that's his idea of content. Okay, are you surprised? My idea of
content, but also you gotta look at it. Destiny 2 is a relatively social game. Everybody can admit that.
It's got some social aspects. It's not as grounded in social aspects as, like, let's say Final Fantasy 14 or freaking World of Warcraft. That's been one of its biggest problems. If it was more
standing
socially
against them as their competition. We say it's an MMO, but it's only an MMO when we want build crafting.
I gotta give Diva that one. I gotta give Diva that one.
Absolutely, and I agree to that. I
will vehemently disagree that we have not had Menagerie since Menagerie solely because let's sit down and look at the facts here.
Like before Onslaught, the closest thing that we had to Menagerie, and we all agreed with it, was Coil.
And before Coil,
now that Onslaught, that's moved on. And I'm sorry, I agree with JP.
If you want to play Menagerie as it was, go play Salvage. It's the exact same thing.
No. Hold on. Let me hold you there, because in terms of loot, in terms of ad density, and in terms of difficulty, with the 3 tiers that I said, let's take a look back here. All this year, Bungie has been trying to find that sweet spot of Menagerie when it comes to like deep dives or salvage
content or its rewards.
Both.
If you're going to consider it content, then you have to admit that Salvage is Menagerie, because it is exactly the exact same systems that Menagerie is exactly what Salvage is.
In terms of what Salvage and Deep, and I was going to say that Salvage, Deep Dive, the wave system from Season of the Witch, I forget what it's called. I can't think of at the second. But Season of the Witch, Deep Dive, Salvage, everything from this year except for Season of Defiance has been geared trying to recapture Menagerie. And I said it once, I said 1,000 times. The closest we had to Menagerie before this year was Plunder, because Season of the Plunder with the Catch Crash was Menagerie perfect, or like brought back to life. Well, like especially with going to different locations, doing different things, yada yada. But the loot wasn't there. When you don't have good loot to match the difficulty and to match the mechanics, you lose people.
Bad because the content wasn't very fun.
And Catch Crash was fun as fuck. What are you talking about? Catch Crash was fun as hell. If Catch Crash would have had better loot, I'd have been in Catch Crash all season.
So many people left during Season of the Plunder. I cannot, in good faith,
because they were tired of the systems in terms of the loot, but also the just going to the helm and having a tracker and whatnot. People were burned out by that. They were, and that's when the Glad video hit. The Glad video came out and told everyone, "Hey, yo, we're tired of this."
It was a horrible season. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. Especially with like the whole ruffian system that they had going on.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I love that shit, had bro.
Auto completed for everybody
because people didn't want to fucking do it.
Because it was bad. Because nobody wanted to do it.
It was wonderful. I loved
it. Nobody wants to participate in the thing that you're giving them. You cannot say it's good. I'm sorry.
I thought Catch Crash was great. I'm just saying, if Season of Plunder would have had better weapons, people would have been in Catch Crash every other day. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think that's good. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I have to be rewarded with the carrot to go along with doing the thing, you can't consider that good content.
No, because you gotta remember, Catch Crash and the treasure hunt were separate.
Because it's fun.
Like because Catch Crash was separate from the treasure hunt. Treasure hunt was where the autocomplete was. Catch Crash itself, where you like jump from ship to ship and fought a different enemy, where the names were funny as hell, like I and stuff like that. Those were funny as hell. Like that, like Catch Crash was fun. Catch Crash was like literally a Menagerie and a new rapper. We like that was Menagerie to a T. But then they were like, hey, we're gonna give you Menagerie with bad loot. And when you give people Menagerie with bad loot, no one wants to play it.
To be honest with you, if the loot is the only thing driving your players to play the content, that is an indication that the content isn't good. Because players have been playing. Look, I'll say it once. If I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. Players that play PvP, when was the last time they got a weapon refresh?
Earlier this season?
Some motherfuckers have been playing that shit every day, despite getting their god rolls, just because they enjoy PvP.
Right. But at the same time, Catch Crash was a fun activity. Like every content creator said, and I said it myself, Catch Crash was fun But if there's no reason to keep playing it beyond, oh, it's fun, then what's the point of being? It's like with raids. If we can love, like, you know me, I say Garden of Salvation is my favorite raid. Garden is fun. Garden is mechanic heavy. But until they freaking make it so garden weapons are craftable, I have no reason to go back in there because I have every roll of garden weapons that I want. Garden of Salvation is a perfect example of the loot ain't there, Chief. Garden of Salvation is a perfect example. The loot ain't there, Chief. Look at the sniper rifle. Sniper rifle is trash. Look at the hand cannon. The hand cannon's been outmoded entirely from the game, even though it used to be top tier. Pulse rifles still kind of there because ag frames are pretty good and it can get head seekers, so the pulse rifle's still kind of there. Auto rifle needs a refresh.
Herein lies my question.
Okay.
When people ask you to do a garden, do you look at them and say, "Nah, I don't want to do a garden because I already got everything"? Or do you look at them and say, like, "Oh, I'm down to help. I like garden. Garden's fun." Like, so I might not do it on my own because I feel like doing a garden right now, every day. But if people ask me to do it, hell yeah, I'm down. I can't say that for a lot of other raids in the game, but
like Ron is garbage, so we ain't gonna talk about Ron.
I like Ron. I think Ron is the best to actually teach people because you can give
it's mechanically flawed and it's easy to walk people through it.
It's mechanically flawed.
Actually walk them through the mechanics as they do it. To actually,
you mean put them on ad clear while I do all the work?
Chaperone. No, you can give them a chaperone, as I like to say. You got everybody. Like, yeah, sure, there's people doing ad clear, but in the sections that people are assigned ad clear, you can just as easily put a Sherpa right there and then have the Sherpa watch the other kids do the mechanic. And when they fuck up, you be like, "Hey, I saw what you did. I'm going to correct you right now.
I saw what you did.
I saw what you did. You can't lie to me because I saw you while I was ad clear."
To reference TikTok chat, Garden is only there for bragging. No, I disagree. Garden cap to the max piss. Garden is the best raid the Bungie's ever made. I'll die in the hell. But like it's called Garden and Vow are the best raids Bungie has ever made. And like solely because they're mechanically difficult and they force people to get out of their comfort zone. But doing them all the time is exhausting. Ron is perpetually flawed. I will say Ron needs to be turned into a dungeon to get out of my raid rotation.
Got their own opinions, and that's okay.
Ron needs to be taken out of the raid rotation and made into a dungeon. I said it.
I agree.
I said it.
Lies.
The fact that we're fighting Nezarek at the end of Pantheon is some bullshit. I'm gonna say it right now.
To the point, what I was saying about Onslaught.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we got lost in the weeds there for a second.
Mm-hmm.
We always get lost in the weeds.
We do. Like, look, I be trying to help us get back on track, though. I'm just here to
bullshit. You're the leader of getting us lost in the weeds.
He is Captain Tangent.
I gotta call that one.
He's Captain Tangent.
Look, I'm the one that brought us back this time, so you can't say that no more. Look, I'm here for you.
One time.
I'll be working on it. I'm working on it.
How you feel about Onslaught, Diva?
Onslaught, content that they put. I'm not gonna say they didn't put any effort into it. But we can all admit this was a reflex content that they were like, "Look, we're gonna try to rush it out and get it out the door as best we can," and that is why you see so much reused assets and content with like PvP maps being where it takes place.
But see, here's the funniest part. Here's the funniest part about what you just said. The two PvP maps that they used are the best two versions of Onslaught, because you take anybody to the Moth Yards, and I said it last week on the podcast, I'll say it again. This show might be called Cosmodrome Radio, but Onslaught's at its worst when you go to the Cosmodrome, because it's literally a freaking a destination.
I did like one time. I was like, "No, we're not doing this. No, go away." But
no,
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, Moth Yards just ain't it.
Moth Yards is Haiti of Polaris Slay. It's cool. Put it on. That's all it is. Like,
this is the content that we're gonna say is some of the best content since the best content we ever got. What does that say about the content that Bungie has put out since Menagerie? Now, personally, I'm a Season of the Haunted person. I think Season of the Haunted is the best season that they put out since Season of the Menagerie. But
it's up there. It's up there. I think Splicer.
Best dungeon.
No,
Okay,
no,
guys,
I'm sorry.
Them
I'm
bells
sorry.
were questionable,
I'm sorry.
homie.
No,
Them bells were
no.
questionable. Them bells, man. Them
You want to
bells.
earn it? Go fight Kaido. You come back.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you right now, and I
Mm.
stand by this. Season of the Armory was the best fucking season we ever had.
Another armory. I can't even recall what that was.
Black Armory. Season
Yeah,
of the
you
Forest.
probably weren't around.
Black Armory. Black
Yeah,
Armory.
season of the Forest.
I heard season of the
Black
Armory.
Armory, just from exotic standpoint, activity standpoint, secret standpoint, was one of the best.
Here's you want to hear my hot take on that?
Oh,
Season of Splicer.
Season of Splicer was pretty good.
I wasn't ready for it.
Splicer was the first time we ever got a 6-man activity, in just normal rotation for a season.
Mm-hmm.
It had great loot because the only bad weapon the only 2 bad weapons for that entire rotation were debatably the Grid Skipper, but Grid Skipper was still good, and the machine gun. Machine gun was ass. Otherwise, every weapon from that season was top tier. Ignition Code is still sought after in friggin' Dares of Eternity. Presage came out the season before, so we were still riding off of Presage, and Presage was still in rotation and having fun with that. That's only last season, but also just in general with the diving into the grid, the grid missions in the VexNet, that was so much fun and so diverse. And that was the season we got back Vogue. Vogue was an amazing return to form. It was the best baby's first dungeon we ever got, where it's like, hey, you have a job, execute your job, you will do well. Like, the master at that time was challenging. Everything was good. Like, debatably, at that time, Bubble was still viable, so Bubble and Well were fighting for top spot. Like, everything around that time period was top tier, bro. Splicer was amazing, and we don't talk about that enough. Season of the Splicer, from lore sense,
still pales in comparison to Haunted, but I get where you're coming from.
But now you know what was better than Haunted? Season of the Seraph.
What?
Season of the Seraph was amazing because they were like, hey, here's your Aikilos weapons back, and we're gonna give you a bunch of other weapons that are great, like Disparity and Path of Least Resistance, ironically enough. Like, they gave us great activities. They gave us Deep Stone Light, which was Seraph Shield. Like, they gave you so much to do during Season of the Seraph. Like, Season of the Seraph is one of my top seasons for that reason. Like, if we ever did an episode where we just talked about different seasons, like, Seraph would be in my top 5, like hands down. Like, Splicer, Seraph, top 5, hands down.
I'm gonna be honest with you. With all that being said, and everybody talking about all these fantastic seasons, I cannot say any of that for any of these previous seasons this year. None of them were anywhere near that level of quality. They were all
Season of the Witch, my guy.
Be honest with you.
Season of the Witch, my guy.
Sorry, and I will say that. I will agree. Season of the Witch.
From story. Yo, girl, Zivu was hitting the bricks. What do you mean, son?
Hitting the bricks, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I just didn't feel no passion from it. The storytelling, a lot of people had to slide through that story, that campaign. The weird, like, horde mode that they had in.
That horde mode was the return to the menagerie right there. It was like, hey, you get to that was the test point for Coil, where it was like, hey, you can put your level in, you can see what you want to do, and you get some loot. But if the loot would have been there, if the loot would have been better, it would have been hot.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. It wasn't really that good to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. It felt soulless. I'm not gonna say half-assed. It just felt soulless. I felt, especially for me, it was a big hit for me, because for me as a player, for Bungie to come out and say, hey, look, we've been listening to all of your feedback. We've been listening to all of the critiques that you've been giving us about how we do things and our seasonal content, our seasonal model, and this is what we cooked up for you. And then they had it in Season of the Witch, which, I'm be honest with you, compared to just the seasons of Witch Queen alone, paled in comparison. Paled. And then we get to Season of the Wish, and I'm like, I was happy to see my girl Riven come back. I love me some Riven.
Nah, that bitch
Anybody
needs to
that-
stay dead.
Anybody that's ever like, I named my Final Fantasy 14 character after Riven. For those of you who don't know, Riven Shadowkill. I don't care what anybody says. Fight me. That's my prerogative, and I'm gonna keep it. But the seasonal story landed a little flat, not gonna lie. But it's probably because we knew how it would end, so there was no anticipation because of the final shape, which really kind of bit them in the ass.
Yeah.
But the even the like exotic mission with the Wish Keeper, which I really like that book personally.
Oh yeah, that was a good exotic mission. Yeah.
The exotic mission, when put up next to a lot of the older exotic missions, a lot of it doesn't feel like they put their best foot forward with the content. And then for me,
so I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. When you look at some of the exotic missions, there's definitely a progression to them. Like that, you can see that Bungie like upped it with each one.
Most definitely.
And Wishkeeper Starcross is definitely one of the best exotic missions that they've ever done. Now, prior to that, though,
right there next to
hands down, it was fucking Whisper, as far as difficulty and as far as like aesthetics.
Not anymore. Whisper's been beaten in 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Whisper ain't what it used to be, homie.
What do you expect? Back when it released, that we didn't have.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say that the only reason why I got beat by 3 minutes is freaking cracked out, overskilled, freaking adrenaline junkies.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. When I can speed through Whisper and beat it within like 10, 15 minutes with a good squad, and Bungie was even like, hey, we thought of the people who are gonna be shatter skating and stranding and yada yada. We changed some things about it. Y'all didn't change a damn thing except for the boss room. Y'all didn't change anything.
They didn't power creep it enough, because honestly, you go in there with the freaking, once again, Forerunner, freaking, I was able to freaking
Polaris Lance.
Dude, nah, I'm gonna say this. Freaking Forerunner, I was able to freaking 3-tap the freaking Knights before they even had a chance to freaking shoot off fire. You can 3-tap from a good distance. And by that time, I'm already to the back of the freaking room dealing with the freaking ads.
Oh, yeah.
And my teammates already pushing up on the other side. We were able to clear each room in like under 2 minutes.
0 Hour has me a little concerned.
I think 0 Hour with the Briggs might have a little bit more to offer us, because here's the thing.
The ad density, as far as what we were seeing, was a lot heavier than what we were seeing.
They also
and the thing about it is,
some of those places people used to stand to get out of the way of getting hit. Those safe zones that we used to use. And I can admit, that's pretty nice.
And the thing about it is, the problem with Whisper is the fact that, like, the Taken, despite being the thing that was supposed to be the bigger threat than, like, every enemy faction in the game, the Taken ain't what they used to be. The Taken ain't been what they used to be in a long time. Like, you know what would be kind of scary if Bungie ever thought 2 seconds to do it? Where are the Taken heavy shakes? Where are the Taken shakes in general? Where are the Taken Briggs? Like, give me something more with the Taken, because truthfully,
can you stop trying to give Bungie freaking these horrible ideas for freaking enemies? Mister, we need an unstoppable thunder chicken.
Unstoppable Wyverns 2024 , bro.
I'm starting to think that you just like to make the game hard.
No,
Dark Souls levels of hard.
He's trying to induce Dark Souls levels, freaking ass.
No, because Cajun, once I explained my thought process to you, you understood. Because think about it, if Bungie wants the Vex to be the biggest threat post Final Shape, what do? You make the Vex be the ones with all 3 champion types. And what don't the Vex have? An unstoppable. So what do? You tune down normal Wyverns a little bit. That way they're not ruining everyone's existence. And then you give us unstoppable Wyverns.
Bungie ain't gonna do that.
They're gonna make,
and even then, that's PTSD inducing, you freaking ass. It's already bad enough. It's already bad enough. I'm tormenting my buddy Dan with freaking half the crap that I'm doing, that you got to do the new lights, when you're
Telling
running
you
through
that, yeah, I saw you being mean to him and grasp on TikTok. You ain't slick. but no, like unstoppable wyverns would be top tier, but also like just in general, the Taken need to be buffed. Because I remember when the Taken King
No, they
was
don't.
No,
No, they
listen,
don't. Them
let me cook.
teleporting assholes.
Let me
Them
cook.
teleporting assholes.
Let me
They
cook.
need to have freaking. They need to have freaking lead weights put around their fucking ankles, the little bastards.
Let me cook. Because think about it. Look at the Taken themselves. The Taken have not been a threat to us since I legitimately Taken came. Even when they came back in D2, the Taken weren't that much of a threat since the original Legend Whisper. If the Taken got some gas to them, if like since Xivu Arath has lost her throne world, what if Xivu became the new Taken Queen and just said, "Hey, yo, we got taking Briggs, we got taking Wyverns, we got taking this and taking that, and we just start upping the ante. If we start upping the ante, give the Taken some more gas, and they start being the shit again, it would be real dope." But the Taken have not been a substantial threat since Legend Whisper originally, and
they've relatively been like in the forefront of a lot of things for quite some time.
Yeah,
I think that's why you're feeling the way you feel, because like the Scorn and the Lucent Brood have generally kind of taken the forefront away from the.
And now we're getting the Dread, which I still say Bungie finally. Thank God they finally listen to me, because I've been saying the Bungie that the darkness needed to have something on the damn pyramid ships besides Cabal, and now they have something on the pyramid ships besides Cabal. It's like, hey, Bungie, good job. You listened to the people. You gave us a new enemy faction, but it took us.
Look what it took for us to get it. I'm like, look, it took for people to literally hit you in your wallet so hard that the C-suite was like, look, we got to do something about our job, man. They're coming for our job next. So let's just give them everything that they've complained that they've wanted. We're going to give them back their Recluse. We're going to give them back their Mountaintop. We're going to give them back all this broken stuff. And now there's even a conversation of whether or not Prismatic was planned, or whether or not they just threw that in there or moved it up some.
Or Prismatic was supposed to be in Destiny 3 and they moved it up.
Yeah, and I'm like, look, I love this game, but that is a genuine critique. Like, it took for us to be like, look, no, Bungie, we're not gonna allow you to skirt by with the least amount of effort necessary to get money. Now you're gonna have to work for that dollar bill. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little concerned that even after the final shape, a lot of people are having this concept in their mind that after the final shape, the game is done. Or that they are done.
To be fair, Bungie was kind of looking grim for a minute until Luke Smith popped out from beyond the veil and said, "Hey, yo, we got more cooking." Like, we thought that dude was dead. Like, there was conspiracy theories that Luke Smith got carted off to a deserted island, and then he pops up like, "Hi guys." It's like, where have you been, buddy?
They would have got him out the closet like Grandma Eva, huh?
Well, right. I'll pose it like this. I think, Luke took a back seat for a bit, because after a lot of the freaking harassment that he got, in the past, he said, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. Freaking, he deleted his entirety of freaking Twitter and only had his account up.
Do you remember what was the thing that broke the camel's back that made the community start doing that, though?
I want to say he made a comment about the whole freaking vaulting thing.
No, he said that in response to the backlash of vaulting and sunsetting, he said the next thing they were gonna do was sunset supers, and people went after his ass. I'm not saying it was right, but man opened his mouth.
I'm gonna tell you right then. I'm gonna tell you right then and there that I'm gonna blame the entirety of the fucking community on that one, because look, how many times as us as content creators or people in general see a freaking, the community bitching about something and we crack a joke? Okay. And look, for all of Salto Greppo's freaking craziness, And people want to blame him for the div nerf.
It was him. He did
go,
it.
No.
Go
back.
Go back.
Go fucking back. He did it 2 weeks. 2 weeks before it happened.
That's all it took.
There's no time for Bungie to have done. There's no time for Bungie to have done and made the code for that.
It's true. It's true. They talked about it. It's true.
Okay.
Like,
honestly,
Salt didn't do it, but man, that was some weird timing.
It was coincidental timing.
Like, that is a definition of a motherfucking winky dink.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Now the well nerf is his fault.
Yeah. But look, sometimes this community cannot fucking take a joke when it comes to some things. And Luke did not deserve any of the fucking backlash that he got.
I don't
know.
With great power comes great responsibility.
D3va just said it.
And you do not.
Okay. You know what? You know what then? I'm gonna say this. Helldiver community. The CEO has cracked similar jokes about Helldivers.
But here's the difference. Is Helldivers in anybody's bad graces right now? No. Bungie had lasers on their ass about your sunsetting raids, your sunsetting content and expansions, you're sunsetting all this stuff. You're getting rid of loot that we grinded our butts off for, including armor. You're getting rid of all this stuff, and then like, we're going into Beyond Light with damn near nothing. And then Luke Smith comes out and makes a joke like that when Twitter is hard to tell when you're joking anyway. But when you come out and say something like that, I'm not saying people were right. I'm saying people went feral and they were stupid about it. But Luke kind of went off the rail a little bit and didn't read the room, and he had himself looking kind of dumb. I'll be the person to say.
I'm going to say this: Luke read the room. It was
He read it incorrectly. There you go. He read it incorrectly.
No. He read the room. He cracked the joke, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. He had a right to crack the joke. Now, we also, hold on. We also had the right to critique Bungie about the whole situation. Bungie management, I will still to this day say that they mishandled the entirety of the situation.
Most definitely.
Should have gave the freaking developers more time to prevent the having to the content vault, which would have meant that Beyond Light should have been delayed. That should have been the first.
They did delay it.
No, I'm talking about further to prevent any content having to be vaulted. That should have been the very first massive delay.
Okay.
Because Beyond Light was also the first expansion post Activision. And I mean that from a development standpoint.
Correct.
So they should have took the time to make sure if they were going to make this the beginning of 3.0, which, by the way, that's what it was.
Because Stasis was the beginning of 3.0. You're right.
That should have been the first massive delay. And they should have took the time to do it. And that was a Bungie management fail. 100%. But they made a call. And at the end of the day, it was a bad call. But it was a call nonetheless. And here's Luke Smith trying to bring a little bit of levity, and freaking everybody and their mother went after that man. But he wasn't the only one that they went after. And now that we've got court records on it, to this day, anyone that attacks any fucking dev, I call you a fucking asshole.
You're right. Like I said, I'm not advocating.
And the fact that it's
two things can be true at the same time, most definitely.
And the fact that it's taken that man almost 5 years to show his face to the Destiny 2 community again. Freaking, I'm ecstatic. I'm happy for the man. I really am. And I'm going to say this: I don't give a flying fuck if you like what's happening or not.
Right.
Go after any one of the devs, especially Luke Smith, who's been around for the longest time, who's been one of our biggest fucking advocates. You need to set the fuck down.
Now, but here's where I'm gonna disagree with you though. There are certain things that need to be read about Twitter and also the fan base. And here's the thing. There's a time to speak, and there's a time when we need to read the room and know when to speak. And there's two different instances that happen. And I want to be very blunt about this. I'm not saying attacking devs is okay. I'm saying if you attack a dev, you're freaking stupid. And like the things that have happened to people like Kevin Giannis, the things that have happened to people like DMG when he worked for us, the things that have happened to Leanna like before and post her leaving Bungie, the things that have happened to Kevin, the Luke Smith, or almost like Kevin Smith, Jesus, the things that have happened to devs is not okay. However, y'all y'all should know just as well as I do that gamers are volatile when they see some whack ass shit. And there are two instances now, like both the Luke Smith thing and the Giannis thing, where they said some whack ass shit on the eve of shit already looking grim for Bungie. And it looked real whack. I.e., we just lost all this stuff. We lost 70% of the game. And then you say, hey, we're going to take supers next. That doesn't sound like a joke. That sounds like you're doing something dirty even more to the game. And especially when we don't know what's on the horizon. We're just now getting Twilight Arsenal and the other one and Blade Dancer back on year 10. Like that looked pretty scary for a lot of individuals. And then the Giannis thing. People were stupid as hell to ever think Twilight Garrison was coming back to D2. But when you tell people your favorite thing that lets you speed run and be a dumbass is never coming back because we've pretty much baked like that the mechanic into the Warlock kit, people are gonna get upset. And Giannis like caught some messed up shit for that. That doesn't mean people like unjustly, most definitely. But at the same time, we need to choose our words and our battles wisely. And I definitely say that like those things were handled like not the best way, but especially when Giannis was like, I'm gonna rip the bandit off. He said Titans will never get air dodge back, my guy. I'm gonna rip that band-aid off right now. And when it's not handled through a press release or a dev stream or something like that, you are setting yourself up to get bashed by stupid individuals. And I think that's wrong.
I'm sorry. No. No.
Okay.
Okay, because
I'm gonna let D3va go first. Let D3va go. I cut D3va. Let D3va go. But I'm gonna let you rant. I want to make sure D3va gets the word.
100%. I agree, especially with Kevin Giannis. That was unnecessary.
Yes.
I want to be honest with you. And nobody should ever have to do that. But when you look at the Luke Smith situation, 100%, you have just taken away so much content. And then to joke about the fact that people were already up in arms about the Eververse system and how Eververse was like in D1, you negligible at best. But now so much of the content, some of the best content, cosmetic content, is all thrown into Eververse. And it felt like Bungie was nickel and diming people. And you had the EA stuff going on, the rise of the microtransaction hellscape going on. And then you turn around and you got like other CEOs saying, now granted, this is further on in the future where they're like, hey, you know, players need to get used to not owning their stuff. But back then it was, you had a developer CEO saying like, why can't we charge them to reload their guns? And then you come out with jokes like, we're going to start sunsetting supers, content like that people already paid for, and people are already mad about the content that they paid for being taken away. But now you're sunsetting supers, you're sunsetting armor, you're sunsetting everything. And it just felt like they were willing to take away everything that the community wasn't willing to fight for. And so people came out ready to fight for their supers because a lot of people were still mad that they lost their Sun Singer. Like, look, we're not even going to talk about that. Like, legit. I'm be honest with you. I genuinely believe that if people hadn't come out so mad about it, I think they probably would have went for it. Because nobody got mad, so I guess they don't care. We can do it. And then when it happened, people were going to lose their fucking mind. But I can admit, today, well is definitely a problem. And I think they were targeting well. Because it's so hard to build around. But
at the same time, them doing what they did, like what they did to Giannis and Smith, wrong. Most definitely wrong. Unacceptable.
We can
but
all
at the same
agree
time, the evidence is on the board of y'all said some messed up shit that people didn't agree with, and the wrong action occurred in response to your action. But at the same time, two wrongs don't make a right. Is what I'm trying to say.
But also, and I will continue to say this, with great power, you cannot play with power. You have a responsibility to the players. Just like how Cross turned around and he made a joking, like, what was it, April Fool's joke about exotics and things coming back to the game. And sure, he was joking, but there were a lot of people that took him at his word. And I get it. It's a joke. Some people see it that way. But there are a lot of people that didn't. And that is what not watching what you say when you have authority and power over people can do. That's why they say with great power comes great responsibility. And us as content creators, people as content creators have to remember that. People in powers of authority, hell, I learned it in the military. You can't just say whatever jokes you feel like you want to say because other people underneath you can take things any kind of way. Yeah, you saw it as nothing, but they saw it as something. And all that matters is not what you intended, but how they experienced it. And that right there has to mean something.
All right, Cajun, speak on it.
I'm not going to speak on this any further because trust me, if I do, I'm going to piss off the entirety of the fucking Destiny 2 community in a fucking way that I guarantee you I will never be able to do content ever again. Because I'm going to tell you right now, some of the comments that, some of the things that y'all just fucking said, pretty much you're just saying that fucking any dev can't fucking crack a joke. Any dev can't freaking speak their mind or, you know, have their own personal fucking opinion. Because at that point, they have to be scared of any fucking basement dwelling, crotch eating, gremlin little piece of shit fucking ass who fucking get up in their fucking feels because their favorite little thing is fucking gone or it's getting fucking nerfed. And so now they want to go into fucking levels of toxicity against someone for a fucking joke.
So here's the thing.
And I'm sorry, that's not fucking it.
You're right. That's not what I'm.
And I'm sorry to say this. I'm sorry to say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the entirety of the fucking gaming community needs to fucking understand this. Okay? We are playing a live service fucking game.
Right.
Okay? Live service games have been around for a long fucking time. This is not something new. It has been fucking around. And we have stressed, especially us experienced gamers, have stressed, read the terms of fucking service.
Correct.
We've been stressing this for so fucking long. You do not own the fucking content. You own a license to access content.
True.
It is not the fucking thing that I ever want to fucking have to deal with, but I choose to engage with it of my own volition. I understand the fucking risk.
True.
And I have said this before. I still hit fucking Bungie. I still hit Bungie management for the fucking decisions they made.
Most definitely.
However, there's a difference between Bungie management and the individual developers. When I see a post, when I see a comment from their fucking Twitter, that is their own fucking opinion.
Right.
Okay?
I agree. I agree with everything you just said. I agree with everything you just said.
If this would have came through, if the fucking Giannis or the fucking Luke Smith comment would have came through the official Destiny 2, at that point, yes, 100%, we would have had a reason to freaking raise up arms and go after Bungie.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're saying, oh, because they said this, they got to be careful about the little toxic nerds.
That's not what we're saying.
And I'm sorry, that's not the fucking, no, they do not get a fucking pass.
They never get a pass. No, that's not what we're saying at all. It's the same thing as walking into an open crowded room and yelling fire. There's a time.
But how many times? How many fucking times?
Yeah.
Salter Grepo, Astrocross, Paul Tassi, fucking Lucky P. How many fucking times has any fucking content creator done the same shit?
Right, and they've been
and they get a fucking pat on the back from the fucking community. The moment a dev does it, it's a fucking different story.
No, but here's
it's a fucking double standard.
I literally just criticized them.
We've agreed with you, and he spoke on Cross. He spoke on Cross. We've talked about Salter Grepo at length. We agree with what you're saying. It's it's a matter of reading the room in the same scenario where we just said Cross didn't read the room. It's the same reason why Salter Grepo he revels in the way he has a hate mob. He was joking about it on Twitter earlier this week that he wants Well to be disabled for day one because it has some kind of glitch. He was getting ripped one for it, and he was laughing at it. Like, people enjoy being the villains of the community, but at the same time, they're and the thing about I think it was Leanna said at one point that they didn't adopt the Destiny 2 team thing until the critiques and the death threats were too high and the community managers had to handle things a different way. That's we never said that was a good thing. But when you open yourself up to be an avenue for information to be distributed, and we even commended the project lead for being doing something like they used to do this week, but you open yourself to the criticism. And granted, were people like you and me and other people, excuse me, probably handling the Twilight Garrison or the Sunset Supers conversation differently? Yes. But you and I and D3va and other hosts previously have said attacking people is wrong. But we've also critiqued.
I'll agree with that.
Well, we've also critiqued what they've said. We've said it before. So this is not about we're advocating for attack. We're advocating for the ability to critique, but we're also saying what these people did is wrong. You and I have sat here before and said that we'll bash Bungie for their bad takes, but then we'll also praise Bungie for they do well. I'm over here sitting here saying that freaking Onslaught, the best things that they made since Menagerie, but them getting rid of half the crap they introduced into the light is bad. They're sunsetting half the stuff they just made. That's wild. I'm sitting here on two different folds, critiquing but also praising. But then those individuals are handling things the wrong way. If Luke Smith would say the stuff he did now. Well, at the same, say we were in the same climate where everyone's mad at Bungie, and he said something like that, then I'd probably say that's a bad take, brother. You shouldn't have said that at that time frame. I would have said
I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
This is my honest fucking thing. It doesn't matter if it's a fucking good time with Bungie. It doesn't matter if it's a bad fucking time with Bungie. There are people within it. There are people within this fucking community that will take any rhyme or fucking reason to attack the goddamn devs.
You're right.
And we've seen it fucking time and time again. I don't give it a fucking. I do not abide by that fucking excuse that it was a bad fucking time.
But herein lies my point, Cajun. Two things can be true at the same time. I can agree with you and say attacking the devs is never acceptable. I can say that, and that is true. Attacking the devs is never okay. But wanting the devs to be more responsible with the things that they say, because people hang on their every word, looking for the next big dump of information.
Then I'm gonna say this.
That's fair.
If you can't handle, and I'm gonna say this as a fucking gamer, I'm gonna say this as a person. If you can't handle someone else having a fucking difference of opinion, let alone a fucking developer, do yourself a favor. Shut down your Twitter, shut down your Facebook, shut down your fucking Threads, your Instagram, your fucking TikTok, whatever. Don't get on social media. And I'll say that to the devs, and I'll say that to the fucking to the consumer as well. Because I'm going to tell you now, 90% of you motherfuckers can't take somebody else's fucking opinion.
True, most definitely. But at the same time, like we have this show, and you and I have talked about a future project where we want to be able to critique, we want to be able to praise, we want to be able to review, we want to be able to discuss, and we are still going to be
and
able
I'm
to
going to say this. There's definitely there's the finest of fucking lines when it comes to fucking critiquing.
Yeah, most definitely. Hell yeah. And we walk that line every time.
Fucking the vast majority of people out there do not have social media literacy, let alone media fucking literacy.
Agreed. Most definitely.
Okay. Most people do not understand how to fucking provide actual fucking feedback.
You're right. And we even talk about
if you want to fucking learn, go look up a Dirty Effing Hippie's freaking YouTube channel. She posted a video on it. Fucking chef fucking kiss. I learned that lesson back in 2003 from an EverQuest developer.
Yeah, and we even praised DMG a few weeks ago where he showed how to give critique about something. Like we've talked about it. We talked about it at length. Like it sucks to for when people do hate mob shit. But at the same time, something can be a bad take. We've talked about that. So I'll say it flat out to anybody who's watching. We will continue to give critique. We will continue to give when we even made this in our brand new paragraph we send to guests before they come on the show. We are very much middle of the road, both for the hardcore and the casual, both for the developers and for the players. We are the middle of the road when it comes to. That's why we do this from the Cosmodrome. We do this from the beginning of the game. That way, everybody's on the same ground. And we are going to continue to offer those critiques from the middle of the road. And if someone has a bad take, I'm gonna say a motherfucker has a bad take. But if somebody has a good take, I'm gonna say they have a good take. But will we ever praise people being attacked? Never. We will always denounce it because attacking developers is wrong. That's always going to be the case, and that will never not be the case. Hands down.
Agree. 100%.
Yeah.
I ain't understand about it. Like, don't attack the devs.
Like if you attack a dev, that is some small member energy. If you attack a dev, in my opinion, that is some small member energy. Like you
tiny little fiddle.
Right, like you ain't got a good bone on you if you attack a developer. Because what do you gain from that? Like at all? Like what do you gain from that? How, it doesn't feel good. You're doing wrong by another human being. And I still say this was a great talk because Cajun spoke on some shit. He defended his platform, but we also still came back and met in the middle because we, at the end of the day, we all care about the developers. We care about this game, and we want to make sure that the right things are happening for this game. And I think that's a great motherfucking thing.
That's the way it's supposed to be handled.
Yes.
That's how.
Cajun, how you feeling, bud?
I'm doing all right.
Hell yeah. All right. I was saying, from what I see in the tweet, there is they announced the people who won the Onslaught Legend Challenge. I still don't know how those people did it because I can't win Legend Onslaught to save my life. But other than that, there really wasn't a whole lot this week. Next week, we get Luna's Howl, I believe. That's on the chopping.
Actually, I just freaking had that up a second ago. Stand by 1 second.
It's Forbearance and a Hammerhead.
Yeah, Forbearance and Hammerhead. And I'll be honest, with Hammerhead, that's going to be a freaking. I've been studying this freaking role for a while.
Rewind rounds.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this real quick. Rewind rounds is like the optimal as far as the third column. Anything else is, I guess, your preference.
It's just a toy.
But then when it comes down to the fourth column, the two that stand out for me is going to be Target Lock. Yeah, I know everybody's got their freaking opinion on that. And then Onslaught. Onslaught is by far the freaking best, to me, one of the best ones for ad clear. Because you're going to be chewing through and you're going to be ripping things up. Osarago is the perfect example of that. Freaking, if I'm able to actually get freaking Rewind and Onslaught, that's freaking, it's end of the fucking road. You put that on a freaking Actium War Rig freaking Titan, rip. You've got a void version of Sweet Business. Tell me I'm wrong.
Nah, you're not wrong at all, big boy. That's gonna be a good time. Also, Forbearance is gonna be cooking because Forbearance has demo now. So the Bungie went and power creep, which is kind of funny to me. We'll have to play that one by ear. But
we still gotta wait. We still gotta wait and see how the chain reaction nerf is got. So supposedly, it was so. I stand corrected. So the details of the chain reaction was announced.
Yes,
it was on the Proctor interview on a recent podcast. I think it was. I can't remember which one. It was
the Massive Breakdowns podcast.
So TLDR, they're nerfing damage as well as the damage rate, the explosion radius.
Correct.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that feels now. From what it looks like, it's relatively small percentage, still significant. So it's going to be a wait and see. I still feel that chain reaction is still going to be top tier.
Almost definitely.
For freaking breach loader GL waveforms. I don't think it's going to be enough to where anything else is going to take over. So for those that got the freaking strand GL waveform and you got forbearance or harsh language, keep them. They're still going to be freaking good.
Harsh language is trash. Harsh language is trash.
Ripping.
Nah, bro. You know what's still better than harsh language? Deafening Whisper. Deafening Whisper, even though it doesn't have volatile rounds, is still better than freaking harsh language. Because harsh language literally uses the same model as fucking you know what irritates me so much sometimes about reissuing weapons? When I get real excited and I open a Prime Engram and I'm like, oh my god, a truth teller after so long, and then it's like, oh wait, it's a harsh language. Never mind. And I get so sad because they use the exact same image and model of freaking truth teller for harsh language. I'm like, y'all some disrespectful bugs. Y'all do me like that. That's wild.
I'm gonna tell you now, you'd probably be happy if they put freaking chain reaction on freaking harsh language.
No,
you'd probably forgive them.
I just want a void waveframe that cooks with some gas. Like harsh language kind of hits it, but like chain reaction on a void GL.
Well, considering that they've been open now to freaking putting destabilizing rounds in the freaking third column. Freaking hey Bungie, I'm just gonna throw this out there. Harsh language with destabilizing rounds and chain reaction.
Ooh.
Void Titan happy. Void Titan excited. Granted, I love my Wilder flight, but that sounds dirty.
Fuck Void Titan, freaking Void Warlock, Void freaking Hunter.
Niagara Falcon is
oh dude, Gear Falcons would be
chain
fucking
reaction.
busted.
Gear Falcon sounds terrifying.
Y'all just don't understand. Like, look, when I get Prism, I'm about to be going bonkers with these builds.
And by the way, the fact that there's limited abilities and limited freaking selections for Prismatic, I think is one of the best things that Bungie has.
The best thing they could do for balancing.
And I've had this question asked a lot of me lately: is do I think Prismatic is going to be OP and give no reason to go back to the standard subclass? No,
debatable.
It's Prismatic is the jack of all trades. The freaking standard subclass is the master. You're going to be good. Everything's going to be a case scenario. There's going to be content where Prismatic is going to reign. There's going to be content where Solar's going to reign. There's content where Strain is going to win. And also it's down to the artifact. The artifact is going to dictate what is meta or what's stronger for that season.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna give you some
if we had an example, don't be surprised if there is some Prismatic artifact perks. You know,
I expect it to be.
Because Strand was prominent through all of the artifacts for Lightfall.
Listen, you're playing the dangerous game.
Solar and Void were prominent in Defiance. Arc and Void in Deep. I want to say it was Void and no. What was which?
Which was
Was that Solar and Arc?
It was Solar and Arc, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were still in grenade shenanigans during that time.
Yeah, and then this season was Solar with a touch of stasis and Strand.
A touch of stasis.
I'm gonna be honest right now. I'm gonna the artifact is gonna be the exclamation point at the end. But that class item is what's really gonna take this whole thing by storm. Like the ability to have two exotics, whether even if it's just a watered down version of both of those exotics, to have two exotic like perks active at the same time creates a lot of build crafting. And that build crafting, I'm gonna be honest with you. If it only works with Prismatic, is going to power creep all of the other builds in the sense of like supposedly hunters might get a version of Heart of Inmost Light, and if I get Heart of Inmost Light with a foe tracer, look.
Nah, man. If y'all ain't on well, y'all tripping.
There is no well. Like that's the part. That's the part about Warlocks that I feel so bad for.
There is no well in Prismatic. Y'all gonna be stuck on that well.
And they're gonna be like, no, you take your ass back to well. Everybody but you.
Like you thought you could do fun shit? Nah. It's like the freaking Uncle Ruckus meme. Dice Catcher trying to be shit. Back to well.
Knock it right back out the chair.
I've said this multiple times that freaking Bungie needs to look into putting, like, first off, they need to give hunters change the freaking tether. I've said this before. No, hold on. Listen, I'm talking about adding an additional functionality, and then by doing that, give Titan Bubble, give it an exotic. I'm gonna say 14.
Let me shoot through my bubble.
Right.
Let me shoot through my bubble.
But give Tether the ability to drain HP and feed that back to the team where you've got damage increase on the targets as well as a heal. That at that point would be a competitor to, let's say, to well.
It would be a competitor. It would be, and I'm gonna be honest with you. As much as I love that idea,
but then take it up a level. Take it up a level. We said this before. Darkness subclasses, you've only got one for every class. Bungie, create a second one. But every subclass, every class, Hunter, Titan, and Warlock, those supers are now a freaking passive, just similar to Well, Bubble, and freaking
passive,
Well, Bubble, and Tether.
Like we revisit the Warlock super and make it a giant spider that heals everything.
Hey, look, give Hunters Sunsinger, and we can have a conversation.
Think of it like this. Freaking
You're in jail. You're in jail for the rest of the show.
Look, I'm just saying, it'll cook.
That sounds terrifying.
Mobility.
I was gonna say, freaking take freaking Titan. Instead of going Berserker, you grant everybody Frost Armor that gives you like 15 seconds of damage resistance.
Like you jump up in the air with like a giant like ice circle on the ground, and then you just freaking like cover the thing, give everyone Frost Armor. That would be awesome.
Kind of like a Lucio alt.
Break it down. Let's break it down. Oh, yes.
Okay. And then freaking let's take Strand Warlock. Instead of Needle Storm, you basically
create a giant web that heals people.
Yeah, I was gonna say you freaking shoot your first shot into the boss and then stake it into the ground to where it then connects to every freaking player nearby. You have to be within a certain radius of that stake in order to receive any damage or healing. Okay.
Real
And
interesting.
then let's Hunter, you can go either way. I would say go with freaking stasis for this.
All right. Well, we will revisit these ideas. These sound really dope. I'm gonna fantasize about creating frost armor for a couple of days now. Because that sounds dope. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. D3va, you ain't been here in a hot minute. What do you want your closing statement for episode 59 to be?
My closing statement is gonna be this. Look, Destiny players, people who come here and listen to us rant and rave and go crazy all the time. Listen, this game is more fun when you play it together. The gatekeeping and the you can't come play with us mentalities need to stop. I see it far too much in this community, which is why D3va is always going to advocate. And you're welcome to come advocate with me too for my dance clubs and my nightclubs. Like, you're welcome to come in and have fun with me. Whether these two like it or not, you're all welcome. But we need to get back to the point where everybody enjoy playing with each other. And we need to get rid of this idea of you're not welcome because X reason. It's got to go. That's my closing statement.
Bungie comes out the twit next week. We are never putting nightclubs in Destiny.
All right, I'm gone, guys. I'll see y'all later. I got nightclubs to be at on my Final Fantasy game. Look, they're having a good old time.
Cajun, how you want to leave these people before we wrap up?
So I'm gonna say this. Bungie definitely look at upping reward quality. I'm gonna say reward quality as far as onslaught, and make sure it's something that's gonna be able to survive post into the light. You know, that's definitely something as far as the continuity and the continuance of doing the onslaught activity. That's going to be key for players to continue to engage with it. At the same time, once again, Destiny 2 community, I will say this time and time again. Some of y'all's toxic asses need to sit the fuck down. If all you're going to do is freaking sit there and bitch about the game, go play something else. Seriously. I have quite literally been on a block spree on freaking both TikTok as well as on freaking Twitter. I'm not saying we can't have a difference of opinion. Difference of opinion is whether or not Vorpal or Recombination is a better perk on Mountaintop. Okay, that's a difference of opinion.
Man, if I can't have Slick Draw on it, it's ass. I'm playing. I don't want Slick Draw. It's ass.
But to sit there and bitch about a freaking game that's live service that costs roughly $70 a year, $100 for all the content for that year. When you're sitting there paying that much and plus battle passes every freaking 2 months for Call of Duty, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And at the same time, Warframe players, you coming in my stream saying freaking, oh, Warframe's a better game. My nuts in your mama's mouth is a better experience, but we're not talking about that.
They do got nightclubs though, so we can talk about it. I'm done.
All right, folks. Here's what I'm gonna say. Bungie, you're doing good, but you gotta stop taking stuff out in my game. Keep doing good things. I know we didn't get to the Pantheon thing. Pantheon, great thing that I will say. Limited time is dope. Keep doing limited time things to make people chase things. I like it. Let's keep it going. Community, y'all gotta do better. Y'all gotta do better. We gotta keep striving for better. And as we keep doing better, good things will keep coming to us. So, want better and do better. Folks, we will be back next week with a brand new episode. Episode 60 is next week. It's going to be dope. We're excited. Make sure that you come back to us. Check out the show live tomorrow. We'll have it up on every platform tomorrow for you good people. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you go back and listen to old episodes. Spotify people, you get special shout out because y'all are our highest numbers. So keep up the good work. Apple or iHeart, I want to see some better numbers. Keep putting that work in. But if you like Spotify, cool. Just keep supporting the show. Make sure you rate us and review us, all those great things. And we will be catching y'all Starside. Peace out.
Deuces.